Hello, I'm Fiona Haworth, the Associate Priest at St Peter Mancroft, and welcome to our Wednesday reflection, which is being live streamed on our YouTube channel. Once, on a day of deep fog, I was heading home on the bus and I decided to get off several stops early. There was a disused railway line by the stop that took me most of the way home, cutting through a mix of development and farmland, an in-between space on the edge of town. It was probably foolish, but the walk has stayed in my mind. It was eerie walking through the muffling grey shroud that enveloped me away from the streets and the noise and lights. Without a sense of perspective given by a distant view, time and the pathway seemed to stretch ahead of me endlessly. It was a winter's afternoon, quiet and cold. All I could hear were my steps and my breathing. Unable to see what might lie beyond the enclosing fog, I felt anxious. Like many women, my experience of walking alone is one of vulnerability. My surroundings forced me to rely much more on my sense of hearing and my sense of the ground beneath my feet than I would normally. I took account of things I wouldn't usually register. The bushes and trees that loomed up on me, the tug of fear at the stage when shapes were indistinct and could be anything. There was beauty along the way, the dull red of hips that grew through the bushes, the skeletal beauty of twigs adorned with droplets of water, pale-coloured chippings underfoot that seemed to reflect what little light there was. That day, I walked that route in a way I hadn't done before. I didn't use it often, but when I did, it tended to be as a way of getting somewhere, my mind preoccupied and inattentive. It was an exercise in faith as well as foolishness. It was a good thing to have done. I learnt something about myself that I wouldn't have done on a clear, sunny day. Not everyone can walk, but for those who can, walking is one of the most easily available spiritual practices. Many of the faith traditions have a practice based on walking, sometimes connected to labyrinths. Labyrinths date back around 4,000 years. They are used for meditative practices and generally consist of a single path that circles towards a centre point and then back out again. Labyrinths invite us but can't compel us to attend to our inner life. Labyrinths don't really go anywhere, the centre point usually being a few steps away from the starting point if you chose to go directly there. So walking a labyrinth is a walk without a destination. You arrive back where you started from. So what do labyrinths teach us? Well, the only way to find out is to walk one. All you need to do is embrace the opportunity and put one foot in front of the other and open yourself to what is happening in your inner life. If labyrinths offer a spiritual practice of walking without a destination, pilgrimages approach spiritual disciplines from the opposite end. They are purposeful, usually with a destination in mind, often a shrine or a holy place, and the expectation is that the process of journeying on the pilgrimage will offer personal transformation. Pilgrimages may be taken to prepare spiritually for a major religious festival, leaving behind the routines and troubles of daily life. They can be penitential, a way of demonstrating sorrow for sins committed. Sometimes they are undertaken to seek blessing on a new direction. In recent years, there has been a new interest in some of the long pilgrimage routes that crossed medieval Europe. You may have seen the BBC series, which featured groups of people of different faiths and none, following pilgrimage routes to Santiago, to Rome, and to Istanbul. The reflections of the people taking part testify to the power of spending time with people in such a stripped-down setting. Walking together is a particular way of engaging with the world. Being part of a group requires everyone to look out for each other, taking account of the pace of travel, adapting to a consistent pace that allows everyone to participate comfortably. The world appears different viewed at walking pace. There is more time to notice the surroundings, to see plants in detail, to hear birdsong, to notice the scents of the vegetation and farming. In groups, subgroups form and reform, allowing for different conversations to happen with different people. And in spells of solitary walking, strange and wonderful snatches of conversation are overheard. I have taken part in 2 pilgrimages this year. The first was the pilgrimage on Iona with the parish group who stayed in Iona Abbey. We journeyed from the abbey to Columba's Bay, said to be the site where Columba landed. We paused at various points for reflections and songs. We considered the erratic boulder, an out-of-place rock dumped on the edge of Iona during the Ice Age. We thought about the different directions our lives can take as we paused at the crossroads. We gave thanks for the gift of water as we rested beside the loch that once supplied the island's water. We hunted for Iona greenstone among the pebbles on the shore and hurled a stone into the sea to symbolize what we wanted to leave behind. I remembered another time watching a small boy struggle seawards with a very large rock. "That's a big burden. What is it you want to leave behind?" a nearby adult inquired. "My brother," came the response. "He's so annoying." After tea and flapjack, contemplating the beauty of the bay at the back of the ocean, we made our way in silence to the hermit's cell before sitting and listening to the breeze, the birdsong and the insects. The pilgrimage was challenging for some of us, up and down rocky tracks and uneven ground. We needed to help each other, share our loads. We talked in ways we would not have done in the usual course of our meetings. Moments from that day shine brightly in my mind's eye. Yesterday, I took part in the COP26 East Anglia tributary pilgrimage, walking from Norwich to Weston Longfield. A group of around 50 set off from outside this church. Our route was largely along the Marriott's Way and the Walsingham Way. We stopped at St Margaret's Drayton at lunchtime, a church on an ancient pilgrimage route that has marks from medieval pilgrims inscribed around the entrance. Here, part of our group returned to Norwich, and the rest of us walked on, taking in the beautiful Wensum Valley and ancient woodland, home to a colony of Barbastell bats that is threatened by the Wensum Link Road. Other groups of pilgrim are also walking. part of a vast river of people making their way to Glasgow in time for the COP26 meeting. All the walkers taking part in different parts of the country and in Europe are united in our desire to raise awareness of the threat posed by the climate emergency. Faced with a global challenge of such magnitude, it can be easy to feel overwhelmed. But by walking, knowing others are also walking as we do, connects us to a wider movement and offers a practical way of acting. These different experiences remind me of the importance of walking as a way of reconnecting with the earth beneath our feet and of connecting with the people around us. St. Augustine of Hippo is said to have written, "It is solved by walking." What is solved will differ for each of us, and it is only as we walk attentively and openly that we will begin to discover all that God has to offer us. A prayer. Loving God, Jesus walked this earth as we do. For 3 years, in the company of friends, he traversed the highways and byways of Palestine on foot. He took his time, and so had time to give, to notice the sparrows, the lilies, the burdens people carried. May we, like Jesus, take our time and, slowing down, notice the beauty and the pain of the world, and so find ourselves with others in you. Amen.